Welcome to the Seriously podcast. I'm your host, Annalise Gann. Now let's get into it. Welcome to the Seriously podcast, where we make light of serious conversations with really interesting people. Joining us today is Julia Rangiheuea, host of the Soberly Speaking podcast and creator of the popular TikTok Recovering Party Girl. With over 48,000 followers, Julia shares her honest journey through addiction, sobriety, and self-discovery. We're excited to dive into her story and the lessons she's learned along the way. Welcome to the podcast, Julia.
Oh my God. Thank you for having me. This is such a legit setup. I feel like royalty in here. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for coming in. I'm really grateful that you're here. Now, you've recently come into the spotlight from your successful podcast, Soberly Speaking, and your TikTok account, Recovering Party Girl with 48,000 followers. You're such an inspiration to so many. So I'm really excited that you're here today.
Oh my gosh, that feels weird saying that because I have a very, as you would know, warts and all approach to sobriety. I am very heavy on the cons of sobriety and making sure that we always talk about, I jumped on the other day and I was like, guys, my life just doesn't feel as exciting. So to say that I'm an inspiration feels like a smack in the face, but I love it. Thank you.
No, you absolutely are. And I guess I want to ask firstly, a bit about your background. How did life start for you? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So I think the thing when people look at addicts, right, they think, oh, she must have the most traumatic past. She must have been a victim of pedophilia or something. I think that's how society still views addicts, or she must have experienced homelessness. I had two amazing parents still together, born and raised in Perth in Doubleview, Scarborough. I was sent to Catholic schools, private schools. I will say though, I have always felt like I do not belong, always. It's like I am a triangle peg trying to fit into a square hole. I've always felt like I'm too big, I'm too overweight. This was back in obviously those years where you really care about that stuff in primary school. I was 5'10". You would know.
Yeah.
I was 5'10" in year 7. No one wants to be 5'10" in year 7. I was Māori. My last name's Rangiheuea. No one says it. No one likes to say it. So as a kid, I'm like, oh, that's different about me. That's different about me. My parents are extremely working class. My dad is a truck driver. My mum's a palliative care nurse. And they sent me to Catholic private schools. So everyone else's family seemed to have a lot more wealth than us.
Yes.
And although this doesn't sound like many big things, as a child, right, you're desperate just to fit in and not stick out. So everything was like, you are different. No, you are. I've also, Annalise, carried this I have always felt unworthy, and I might get woo-woo already. I feel like it's been passed down to me, or it's come from a past life. I've always felt like I'm not worthy of a good life.
That's actually a legitimate thing.
Yeah. I've always, and so to have those little markers of, oh, my parents can't afford the same things, and oh, my skin color was a different color to all my friends, and I was bigger and I'm taller. It was it was the perfect cocktail, pun intended, for self-hatred. So when I started drinking in year 8, well, how old were you? Because you're from Perth.
Yeah. How old was I when I first
started drinking?
Yeah, about year 8.
Yeah, because so I live in Sydney now, everyone, and when people hear my Perth stories, they think we are out the gate. They think we are crazy. Yeah. I think we just have a real big drink. I think that we just have a really big binge drinking culture over here.
Absolutely.
Not so much as social, Sydney people will drink every night, after work at bars and cafes and everything. But here is binge drinking, right?
Yes.
Started drinking when I was year 8, and it was this gateway to acceptance. It was all of those things I really cared about and I really worried about just melted away, and we were all on an even playing field. And I loved it. I was obsessed with that high it gave me. I was obsessed that people talked to me when I drank. Boys were kissing me when I was drunk. It just felt like I was finally belonged somewhere. And I was addicted to that. So all throughout high school, probably from year 8 to year 10, I was a bit of a follower. And then from year 10 onwards, I was the one who was getting Molly for everyone. I was the plug. I was the one that was we're going to presets underage at Bold Park, and I wanted to get on Molly. I just wanted everyone else to self-destruct like me.
Yeah.
When I quit high school, I didn't have any grades to get into uni. I barely finished high school really. all of my other friends were going to be journalists. They had all these big career. I just worked at the front house at a gym, and I really just dedicated my whole life to essentially buying party drugs and drinking. And then I moved to Sydney when I was 20, and that same cycle reared its head where, oh, fuck, I don't belong here. How do I belong? I belong when I drink and when I'm this like extroverted party girl and everyone loves me when I'm on a bender and I'm doing all these crazy things. And I have to say, my personality when I'm not drinking, although I'm very direct, I'm also very like practical and sensible, and I don't like to break the rules. So when I was drinking, it's almost like this alias I got to become. It was like crazy Jules with a Z. I just became this girl and I loved her, and it was so fun until it wasn't.
So you talk about how you always felt alienated. You always felt different. And I find that's a big thing with alcoholism or drug addiction. The reason people do it is because they want to find community.
Yes.
Like they're missing a sense of community and belonging. Can you talk to me a little bit about that? Like when you did get on it, so to speak, did you find that you felt more included in groups? Did you make more friends?
Oh my gosh, yes. So I can make friends. I'm really lucky in this. I've always been social, right? But when you're drinking, or especially when you've got a bag, everyone wants to be your friend.
Yeah.
I can talk to anyone.
Yeah.
But it just gave me this like I don't give a fuck attitude where if there was a hot guy so out of my league, I'd be like, I'm going to hook up with him. It just gave me this like big ego that I fucking loved. And people often associate ego with bad things. I loved the drunk ego that it gave me because it was like, oh guys, we can't get into this club. Stay here. I'll do it. And I just don't have that in my everyday life. I don't have that bravado, that gregariousness. So although I had all of these friends, I mean, hindsight's a beautiful thing. They were just acquaintances because now that I've gotten sober, I have none of those people in my life.
Oh, wow.
But it always just made me feel like I had this fake community because there's always people around me. Every Friday it was like, come to this event, come to this event. Saturday, hey, we're going to go here. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, whatever it was. I was always being invited places, and that kind of, I mistook that for being included and for, having this community. When I got sober, it was those people that fell off the face of the earth first.
Wow.
I would say that before I got sober, I had so many friends, and I would say that, right? I'd say, oh yeah, I don't really have a good job, but man, do I have so many friends.
Yes.
And now, honestly, hand on my heart, I probably have like 5 best friends, and that's it.
Wow. No, it's insane when you do party and when you do drink and, if you do take recreational drugs, how you do build this sense of community and, these friends, and you think, oh, I can invite them to my birthday or, and then when you stop drinking, it's like, oh, who would really come to my birthday?
Babe, 1,000%. And I think if people are listening to this and they're like, ooh, I can see myself in this story, just really ask yourself, how much do you really know about that person apart from their favourite drink order or apart from if they're normally generous with the bag? Like how much do you actually know of them? Because I can tell you of my acquaintances, I probably knew obviously their first name, maybe their last name and their Instagram handle, and that's it.
Yeah. So can I ask, what was the first time like when you did drink alcohol? And then how quickly did it take a hold of your life?
Oh, to be honest, I actually can't remember. It would have been when I was like, I'm going to assume like 8 or something at the rugby club with my dad wanting to try his beer. When I first started binge drinking, I remember it though, and it would have been cruises, year 8, weekends. I loved that feeling of like nothing else. It's almost like it numbed my brain. I loved the feeling like nothing else matters. It gave me this like main character energy too. When it kind of took a hold of my life, I started doing drugs in year 10.
Okay.
And from there, I notice now, looking back, that I was already trying to save up my money to buy a $30 pinger and a new dress for the weekend. I was already kind of dedicating my life in a really weird way just to the weekend because my studies were failing. I wasn't good at anything else. The one thing I was good at was partying.
Yeah.
So I know it sounds really twisted, but honestly, I reckon like since high school, I had that addictive personality and I was already basing my decisions around partying.
I want to read a paragraph you wrote for an interview with pedestrian TV, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I really liked how this was worded, and I feel like a lot of people could relate. Everyone loved Drunk Jules. I was this exciting, unpredictable and gregarious being who only ever lived in the present moment. My bank account took the brunt of said spontaneity, hemorrhaging around $200 on grog each week. Some nights when I want to torment myself, I remember that I've spent approximately $150,000 on alcohol alone. It feels like my own kind of sleep paralysis. That is insane to me. Like I know that a lot of people spend a lot of money on alcohol, and I know that, you know, it can take hold of your life to that degree. How does that feel, like hearing that?
And also because I can't afford a house right now, right? It's really set me back, truly. If I'm really honest with myself.
Yes.
The consequences of having an alcohol addiction last so much longer than just when it's in front of you.
Right.
So because I was so bad financially from the jump, like I said, from year 10, I was like dedicating all of my pay from Anaconda to get pingers. That sum is just alcohol. If I want to add on cocaine, I actually can't. I'm getting shivers. It would probably be like $200K, $250K just on alcohol and drugs. And Annalise, I really don't have much to show for it. Like, of course, I can afford to take myself to Perth. I can, you know, pay rent, but I still live paycheck to paycheck because of those 15 years of my life.
So it's had a ripple effect, which it does for many people. That's very normal, unfortunately. Like I say, we do convince ourselves that our behaviour is normal, but when did you realise, you know, actually I have a problem? Like, I guess you didn't do those sums when you were in your partying days, but like, when did you look back and go, oh my God, like this is getting out of control, it's affecting your work? Like, when did you realise?
It's so funny because to the naked ear, I probably should have stopped drinking when I was like 20 because I was always doing shit like stuffing up. Like I said on my TikTok the other day that my biggest drunken mistake was this $10,000 Kentucky tour, and I missed my flight to like meet everyone because I was so hungover. And because I missed the first 2 days, everyone had like buddied up and they were best friends. And by the time I got on the tour, I was like the odd one out. So after one night, I'd just bounce and you don't get that money back, and it's like $10,000 down the drain. So I had so many indicators like that, you know, things with men happening in my past that only happened when I was drunk or under the influence, things with the police happening when I was drunk, or like I should have. It's like because my behaviour was so out of control, you keep lowering your bar and you're like, oh no, this is normal. It's normal to be living in a mold infested share house with 4 other people and I can't pay rent and me and my boyfriend are screaming at each other. It's normal that I was so drunk that I forgot to call my mum on her birthday. It's normal that for Christmas morning I missed everyone opening their presents because I was doing the walk of shame from some random guy's house because I had such a big night, right? So it wasn't until I was about 29, so I'm 31 now, so only 2 years ago, where, like I was saying, my partner and I, we were so deeply in love that every time we drank or did drugs, we could not stop fighting. It was like, even if we were just having a wine on the couch, it always escalated because we'd always want more drinks. And then I'd be like, you know, that other thing really fucked me off that you did the other day. It's like I hated him when I was drinking, but when I loved him, right? It was that. It was, once again, couldn't really afford rent because I was dedicating $200 a week to alcohol and to cocaine. It was having this job, once again, that all of my friends had these budding careers. They were journalists, they were lawyers, they were doing things, they were getting married in Tuscany, they were having honeymoons and whatever. Wow. And now here I am just trying to live in Sydney, you know, trying to like share a cider with my partner. It was like, oh my God, everyone's growing up. And I'm just still this 15-year-old trying to get a bag. So I can remember exactly the day where I thought enough is enough. And this is so common with addicts. A lot of people from the outside will go, they need to stop drinking, they need to stop drinking, they need to stop doing drugs. They will not stop until it's their time to stop, like until they decide, right? It doesn't matter how much you yell at your mum or your partner that you hate them drinking. It has to be a conscious thought in their head where they go, I am at rock bottom and anything is better than this. Anything is better than this. I had what we call the gift of desperation. I was desperate to change my life. And I had known that it was because of alcohol. In my heart of hearts, I had probably known for about 2 years. I had an ex-boyfriend and a best friend sit me down and say that, like, you're ruining your life. So what I did is I just blocked them both because I thought, it wasn't my drinking. It was my ex-boyfriend. It was my best friend. It was never the drinking. The drinking was never the problem. But on this day it was New Year's 2 years ago, I was in Perth. I was so hungover. I had just come off a bender. You know, when you have the shakes, you're violently sick.
Yeah.
And I thought, I just need to start drinking again. Like, I've got a family lunch. Apparently that's where you get the most lit. I was like, oh, I can't wait. I just need to start drinking again. I just need to start drinking again. And I just thought, what have I got to look forward to in my life this year? You know, my friend's having a baby. Someone's got their second investment property. I can barely, Bo and I at the time had $29 between us. And I thought, I'm going to give myself one more year to chase my dreams. And what that looked like for me was getting rid of the most toxic thing, which was alcohol.
Wow. Yep.
And I just thought, I'm going to do 1 year off alcohol and just see. And if it doesn't work out and my life doesn't get better, I'm going to go straight back on it and I'll just be happy with an office job and I might have one baby and that's it.
Yep.
That will be my life. I was like prepared to settle. So I thought, let me just go hell for leather and do this sober thing. Although I wouldn't call it that at the time. I just thought I'm just going to do 1 year off drinking and let's just see if my life gets any better. And boy, did it get better.
Wow. When you talk, I get so emotional because I feel like so many people can relate, not only to myself, but people in my life who I've been around who I'm like, please stop. It brings up a lot of memories for me and things like that. So thank you for being so honest. Like it's very raw.
I just want to also acknowledge you and anyone else who, now I'm going to get emotional. Oh my goodness. Because I feel so strongly about this.
Yes.
I need to acknowledge you and anyone else who is dealing with a family member or someone who they love who is suffering with addiction. They love you so much.
Yeah.
And it is an illness and they will get sober or get help when they choose. And it's really hard to hear, right? Because we want to do everything for them. We want to sweep them off their feet. We want to save them. The best thing you can do is to live your life so authentically and so beautifully and show them how good life can get sober or just not in addiction. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't know this about me, but I have someone very close to my immediate family who struggled for probably like 17 years with drug addiction. And we've offered rehab. We've done everything. I've had relatives who have died from addiction, unfortunately. So for me, like really hits home when you talk about these things. And you're right. Like you can't do anything until they want help. You can't physically put them in rehab.
Yeah, no. You can definitely set healthy boundaries. Like, if you're if let's say you have kids and your dad is an alcoholic and you're actually worried about your kids' safety, you can say, I love you.
Yes.
We won't be visiting you anymore from 5 p.m, but I will always be here.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to ask any questions.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say, you should have been here 20 years ago. I'm going to be here with so much love. And whenever you feel tired of doing this, you can come to me.
It's an illness. And I can't stand when people have said to me in my life, the person I'm talking about, they're so selfish that I'm like, they wouldn't choose to act like this. It's in my gene pool. A lot of people have it. People have literally died from it. It's sad. And, it doesn't matter what background you come from.
It doesn't
Working
discriminate.
class, upper class, lower class, whatever you want to call it, different socioeconomic statuses. It doesn't define, who can be an addict and who can't be. And my family have all the resources to help and, it just hasn't happened. So thank you for sharing, how it's impacted you and how you're helping so many people.
Oh, thank you.
So I really appreciate it. Sorry, I got a bit emotional.
No, so do I. Don't do that to me because there's this thing that happens with sobriety is that we finally feel all our emotions because we keep everyone out and we keep everyone at arm's length and we have these walls up. And as soon as you get sober, I think I just cried for the first 6 months. So I cry at the drop of a hat. I'll probably cry again in this interview.
It's healthy to cry. Yeah, I love that. So I want to quickly touch on drugs.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you said you're going alcohol free, did that include drugs?
Do you know what's so funny? I don't know if I've ever talked about this. It didn't originally, right? Because I was like...
Because I'm thinking they're very two separate things.
It didn't originally. I was like, obviously not drinking is enough, especially in that state that I was in. I was like, holy fuck, that's going to be a huge feat. So not drinking, I said, oh, well, I won't drink, but I'll still do Coke for Maddie's hens. I'll still do Coke for Alana's wedding, XYZ. What I didn't realise was alcohol was the gateway for me to do all other drugs. You take alcohol out, I have no interest. No interest. It's weird.
Really?
Yeah, because if you think about it, when do you do Molly? When do you get a bag? You're fucking lit, right? Normally, you're pretty drunk. Like if you're not drunk, you're not making those decisions. I have no interest. The only interest I have is like ayahuasca or DMT for spiritual reasons.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay, just had to ask that. So can you tell me, the day that you finally decided to go sober, you finally decided to go sober. What was the process, I guess, from that day?
Funny enough, I actually said I was so scared of what my friends would think because we're a pretty party heavy group. Like if we're going in, we're drinking for days.
Yeah. Oh,
so
wow.
I actually sat down with my boy best friend at City Beach here. And I said, so I'm not going to be drinking for the rest of the month. But I knew in my heart of hearts it was going to be for the year. And he goes, oh, my God, it's January. I could never. And I thought, oh, my God, he's going to die when he realises that I'm not going to drink for a whole year. And I haven't drunk since, obviously. So he's probably dying listening to this. So slowly but surely, I said to my friends, I'm going to do a year off alcohol because obviously if that's his reaction after 1 month, I'm fucked. So I was like, I may as well just rip the Band-Aid off now and say I'm just going to do 1 year off alcohol. And everyone was like, is something going on? Are you okay? Because I had always presented as this party girl. Everyone just thought I was sweet, right? I was the life of the party. I was always happy-go-lucky Jules. So and this goes against like clinical advice. If you have a problem, please seek professional help. If you think, you actually physically can't stop drinking, otherwise you'll get really sick. For me, I had to basically hibernate and I said no to all social invites for the first 3 to 6 months.
Oh, wow.
I had to stay indoors. It's like I had to lock myself in my room because I didn't have the backbone yet to walk down the street and not end up at the pub with my friends. Obviously, I live in Sydney. It's very social. You can walk down the street and there's 1,000 bars and clubs and everything. I just didn't feel like I had flexed that sobriety muscle yet where if someone said, oh, fuck, should we just get on it? I would have been like, fucking damn, let's do it. I had such a rubber arm. So I just stayed indoors. I was very privileged in the fact that my partner went sober with me. So we had each other and that's huge.
That's huge.
That's huge. You have to have someone or either someone who checks in on you constantly, someone who's willing to do all your sober activities. I also had to swap up my routine so it felt like my life wasn't so boring. Because when you take away all those artificial highs and, going on benders and clubbing and bottomless brunches, when you stop that and that's your whole life, I was just rocking in a corner, So I changed my routine and I changed gyms. I just tried to change as much as I could.
Yes.
I actually think I could change my job. I was so willy-nilly, it wasn't a big career or anything. But I changed as much in my life as I could to make me feel like I was still doing something. It was an interesting thing to do.
Have you had any relapses?
I haven't. My partner has.
Yep.
Yeah. So he relapsed and apparently it's really common. I had no idea.
It's so common.
Around the 11-month mark. I don't know what it is.
Yep.
I think, so there's 2 dates in sobriety, right? There's the day that you stop drinking and there's the day you realise you'll never drink again. And they are not on the same day. If I had said, I'm not going to drink forever, I fucking would have never gone sober because that scares me to this day. That word forever scares me. So hence why I said I'm just going to do a year off alcohol. And then it was around the 11-month mark where I realised, holy shit, my life has gotten so much better. I'm never, ever drinking again. But they're 2 separate dates. My partner was feeling the opposite way. He was like, well, if I'm never going to drink again, I may as well have one last hurrah.
Yep.
Obviously, like I had said earlier in the interview, one of the deciding factors for us getting sober together was this disgusting couple that we became. I'm talking
which is very common.
Common, right? I'm talking screaming down a public road and then would chase after each other and slam doors. It was so dramatic.
Yeah, been there.
Yeah.
No judgment from me.
Exactly. And then he came home one day from work and he said, I think I'm going to drink tonight. And it was so scary, babe. It was It was like, you would know if you're around addicts, it was like the lights are on but nobody's home. It was like he was so set on drinking and nothing I could say. And I said, please stay. Oh, it makes me sad talking about it because I just like feel so sorry for myself. But I was on my hands and knees saying, please don't leave me. Like, please stay, please stay. Because of the person he becomes when he drinks. Like he'd go out, I wouldn't talk to him for days. Who knows what he's doing, you know? It'd be the loss of communication. It'd be the loss of respect. And I knew what I was in for. So I was literally on my knees at my front door saying, please don't go, please don't go, please don't go. Because I knew what this night would entail, right? And we had just done 11 months of sobriety together. We were so good. And that's the thing with addicts. Like, you can be so high one moment and like love sobriety. And once you relapse, you go downhill so fast and nothing will stop you from getting your hand on a drink or bags. And once again, it played out exactly how I knew it would play out. No communication. He got home after God knows what hour. We were screaming at each other. We were fighting. And I just said, I'm not doing this. I'm leaving.
Wow. And
thank God the next day he said, you matter more to me. What can I do? Because I said, I'm fucking scared. I can't. If you have that in you, that scares me. So we did a whole heap of couples therapy.
Yep.
And the best thing was he actually had a really shit night. Sorry. I'm sure
that makes me feel good as well.
I'm sure if he went to a festival.
You choose over Julia.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If he went to like a festival or something or like a fun, maybe he'd be drinking to this day and maybe we wouldn't be together. But he went out.
He probably missed you as well.
I mean, I'm hoping so. But when he went out, obviously once the anger had simmered after like a month of couples therapy, I said, okay, now tell me about it. Was it like, let me live through you? What happened? He goes, babe, we went to the pub and we went to karaoke and it was like the most boring thing ever. And I was like, okay, good. So, yeah, he has lapsed.
So how has it benefited your relationship both being sober?
Oh, my God. The depth, the communication. It is like, it's almost like this, when we were drinking and taking drugs, there was always this like sheet between us of like, you don't really know who I am, and like, I'm just going to keep acting this way. He's going to keep acting this way. And ever since we got sober, the veil has been lifted and it's like, oh my God, I understand you. You are my person. I don't believe in marriage. I think it's an archaic concept.
Yeah, it is.
But him going sober with me, par the lapse, is the most romantic thing someone could ever do.
It is.
That's huge. And he's 26.
Oh, is he?
He's younger. Yeah, he's like 5 years younger than me. Like, there's no fucking way I would have known about sobriety at 26. There's no way I'd stop drinking at 26.
That's very mature of him. And he's been so supportive.
He's the best. He does all my podcast stuff. He dedicates every spare second to my dreams. And I don't know how many men do that.
Not many. Oh, I love that. So how does life look for you now? Like, what's on the cards in terms of like, what would you want for your future? Do you want a baby? Do you want to, you said you're not interested in marriage, but would you want to be engaged or like?
I just want to, this is going to sound wanky. I just want to do Soberly Speaking and I just want to do it really well. That's all. I think if I do that, because I truly think that that's my life path and that's like my destiny and why I've actually been put onto this earth. A lot of people ask me, would you go back and change anything about your life? And although, like I was saying, I've had a lot of run-ins with terrible people when I was drunk and under their influence, I wouldn't. In a twisted way, I feel like I was always supposed to go through all of those events to help other people.
Wow.
So what's in the future for me? Just Soberly Speaking. Let's just do that well. And if the universe gifts me with anything else, with any more abundance, I truly feel so abundant already, then that's like an extra.
Congratulations. Your podcast is amazing, guys. If you haven't listened to it, Soberly Speaking, where can you find the podcast?
Oh, Spotify,
everywhere.
Apple, everywhere, TikTok.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. I want to ask, if people are listening and they want to go sober, what is the first step?
You have to realize that the sober path is better than the path that you're on. You have to be willing to put in the hard yakka. It is hard. That's why I like talking about the warts and all approach. Like a lot of people think that, you know, especially if you do dry July, we're going to wake up and somersault out of bed and we're all going to have glowing skin. And I put on weight. I got adult acne. I lost all of my friends. Like, it's a hard feat.
It wasn't great.
But just know that it's not supposed to be easy, but man, it is so worth it. Have someone who holds you accountable, either go sober with someone. I know that that's like a crazy thing to say, or tell your best friend that you're trying not to drink, or tell your mum, or just someone who constantly checks in on you and someone who wants to make sober plans with you. Because that's something that I found is being the sober friend. I often feel like the plan B or the plan C or the plan D. So it was been so great having Bo there, because we're like, oh, fuck all these people. Let's just go to the movies or something. So you you need to have that person.
You do.
Yeah. Also, when you go to social events, is really important. Do not say, I'm not drinking tonight, because people sniff the weakness and they'll make you drink, especially if you're always that good time person for everyone.
That's so true.
Everyone wants their good time friend, right? Just say, I'm not drinking tonight, and it's not a fucking discussion. That's it. I'm not drinking tonight.
How long did it take you to get that strength?
Oh, babe, like 6 to 9 months.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Like, because our identity is tied up to it. It's like, who am I if I'm not the party girl? So it's not just about like, oh, I'll just walk in somewhere and saying I'm not drinking. Like, I was wrestling with so much. Like, what's my sober personality like? What do I like doing? Like, because I started drinking in year 8, I actually had to discover who the fuck I am.
I know. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you. I feel like I've
grateful.
just like talked like so fast, but I'm so grateful.
No, I'm so grateful. And I feel like you're going to help so many people. You already have. And I'm sure like your impact is going to go a lot further than, you know, just now. So, yeah.
Can I just tell anyone who is listening to this and they have a drinking problem or they have a drug problem that you are so loved and you are worthy, and you are worthy of the life that you want, and you do belong. You belong right here on earth just by being yourself.
What a beautiful way to end the podcast. Thank you, Julia.
Thank you, Angel.
Thanks, guys.